All right, so you're interested in nanimarquina's new garden rug collection. Launching soon. We've got press releases, product descriptions, even some background on the company's sustainability.
And what I find fascinating is this isn't just like an outdoor rug launch. Nanimarquina is known for high-end designer rugs, primarily interiors.
Yeah.
This dedicated outdoor collection signals a shift, almost like they're saying outdoor spaces deserve this level of design too.
It is interesting how outdoor spaces are becoming extensions of our homes now. So, nanimarquina?
Yeah.
For those who might be new to the brand.
So the company was founded back in 1987 by Nanimarquina herself.
Wow.
From the beginning, she was all about pushing boundaries in rug design, blending contemporary aesthetics with traditional craftsmanship. In 1993, she made a pretty bold move, shifted production to India to collaborate with skilled artisans and embrace those time-honored techniques.
That's quite a commitment to craft. Speaking of commitment, let's talk about the garden collection itself. It's designed specifically for the outdoors, not just adapted from indoor rugs, which is a key distinction.
Yeah, absolutely. And the materials reflect that. We're seeing 60% recycled PET, which is fantastic for durability, and 40% natural coconut fiber, bringing in that weather resistance, but still keeping things soft underfoot.
You know, I'm seeing a lot of buzz around the sustainability angle, too, which makes sense given the materials are a climate-neutral certified company. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's more than just a trendy label, too. They're offsetting their carbon footprint. They're working to protect natural resources, building ethical relationships with their suppliers, even investing in community development projects. This is a company that seems to be truly committed to making a positive impact.
So we've got this backdrop of a company with a strong design ethos and a serious commitment to sustainability. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What do these garden rugs actually look like?
Well, the color palette is very much in line with what we're seeing in broader design trends. It's all about those earthy tones.
Okay.
We're talking blacks, greens, and those beautiful natural shades. And the descriptions consistently emphasize a solid style.
Solid style. Does that mean no patterns? Just plain colors?
Well, it's not quite that simple. While they're not heavily patterned, they're playing with texture in a big way. Think of it as letting the materials speak for themselves, blending seamlessly with natural surroundings.
Okay.
It's a very deliberate aesthetic choice.
So it's not about the rug screaming for attention, but about integrating harmoniously into the overall design. I'm looking at the product descriptions from Tappeti.it, and they call out an interesting detail. They mention an earthy background color that contrasts with the inner pattern, creating a subtle two-tone effect. It's almost like a whisper of pattern within the solid style.
That's a great observation, and it speaks to the level of detail Nanimarquina is known for. You know, they're not just slapping some color on a rug and calling it a day. They're thinking about how those colors interact, how they create depth and dimension, even within a minimalist aesthetic.
And speaking of details, they also mention an 8mm thickness, which seems pretty substantial for an outdoor rug.
Yeah, that's thicker than your average outdoor rug, signaling a move towards more luxurious indoor-outdoor living. It speaks to the idea that our outdoor spaces are becoming just as important as our indoor ones, and we're willing to invest in quality and comfort.
Okay, so these are not your flimsy throwaway outdoor rugs. These are pieces meant to elevate the entire outdoor experience. I'm curious about sizing. Are these meant for grand patios, or could they work in smaller urban settings too?
Well, Tappeti, it lists sizes ranging from 170 by 240 centimeters to 200 by 300 centimeters, so definitely big enough to define a seating area or create a focal point on a larger patio or terrace.
But what about those of us with more modest outdoor spaces?
Yeah.
A balcony, a small deck. Would these rugs overwhelm those areas?
That's a great question, and it speaks to the challenges of designing for smaller spaces. But what's great is they offer custom sizes, so you're not limited to just those standard dimensions. You can get exactly what you need to fit your specific space.
That's a game changer for people who want that high-end design but have limited square footage to work with. Okay, so we know the garden collection is launching in stages. What's the timeline looking like?
Industry insiders got a sneak peek back in February, but the official debut is happening at the Salone del Mobile in Milan in April. So that tells us they're aiming high. This isn't just any patio rug. Then the general public gets access in May.
May. That feels so far away. But I asked a way to get ahead of the game, right?
You're sharp. Pre-orders are open right now through Tappeti.it, so if you're really eager to get your hands on a garden rug, you can jump on that.
That indoor-outdoor transition idea with the green rug is intriguing, but could it make a small sunroom feel even more enclosed? It's one thing to blend in outdoors, but wouldn't you want a rug to visually expand a smaller indoor space?
That's a really interesting point. It challenges the assumption that blending in always works. Maybe in a sunroom, you'd want a rug that provides a bit more contrast, something to visually lift the space. It goes to show that context is everything in design. What works in one setting might not work in another.
And that's why we're here,
Yeah.
right? To unpack these nuances and figure out what truly works for each unique situation. So we've got a company known for high-end design, a commitment to sustainability that goes beyond lip service, and a collection that seems to be redefining what an outdoor rug can be. I'm already picturing these garden rugs in all sorts of stunning outdoor spaces, but I want to go deeper.
With you, there's so much more to explore here.
We know these rugs are beautiful. We know they're made responsibly. But how can we use them to truly elevate our outdoor spaces? How do we make these spaces feel like genuine extensions of our homes, just as stylish and inviting as our interiors?
Now we're talking. We're moving beyond simply choosing a rug and into the realm of creating outdoor rooms. Sanctuaries that reflect our personal style while blurring the lines between inside and out. This is where it gets really exciting.
All right, let's dive into that. We've got a lot to unpack, starting with, well, space. A lot of us are dealing with small patios, balconies, even just a stoop. How can we make the most of those areas without making them feel cramped?
Well, the Garden Collection's emphasis on blending in is actually perfect for this because it doesn't visually break up the space. It can make a smaller area feel larger. It's counterintuitive, but it works.
I see what you mean. Instead of a rug screaming, "Look at me," it becomes part of the flow, making the whole space feel more cohesive.
Exactly. So in a small space, opting for a garden rug that's as close to the size of the area as possible, almost like an outdoor area rug, would help maximize the visual impact. And don't be afraid to extend it partially under furniture. That helps anchor pieces and define the space.
Okay, so even if you don't have physical walls, the rug is creating those boundaries, those zones. I'm loving these practical tips already. Speaking of furniture, let's talk pairings. We've touched on a few ideas, but let's get specific. What kind of outdoor furniture styles play well with the Garden Collection?
That's a great question. It depends on the vibe you're going for, right? For modern and minimalist furniture, think clean lines, materials like metal or concrete. The garden rugs, with their natural textures and earthy tones, provide a beautiful counterpoint. It's all about that balance between sleek and organic, hard and soft.
It's about creating those layers, those interesting juxtapositions that make a space feel more dynamic and well thought out.
Now, if you're more drawn to a rustic or farmhouse look, think wooden furniture, weathered finishes, maybe some vintage finds. The garden rugs, particularly the natural or green, would enhance that cozy, lived-in vibe.
That makes sense. It's about bringing in elements that feel authentic, unpretentious, connected to nature in a very real way.
And then there's the bohemian or eclectic style. Lots of patterns, textures, colors, almost more approach.
The Garden Collection, with that subtle two-tone effect we talked about, would be fantastic for grounding the space and preventing it from feeling too chaotic.
Exactly. You need that element of calm amidst the visual stimulation. Otherwise, it can feel overwhelming, even in an outdoor setting. It's all about finding that sweet spot where things feel curated and collected, but not cluttered.
Okay, so we've got furniture pairings down, but what about other design elements? Textiles, lighting, accessories. How can we use those to really bring our outdoor spaces to life?
This is where you can really let your personality shine through.
All right, let's start with textiles. Outdoor pillows, throws, maybe even an outdoor tablecloth.
With the Garden Collection as your base, you can have so much fun layering in different textures and patterns.
Think chunky knits, woven fabrics, maybe even some bolder prints if that's your style.
And don't forget about color. You can pull in pops of color from the rug itself or introduce complementary shades to create a harmonious palette.
Okay, I'm already envisioning some gorgeous combinations. But let's not forget about lighting. It's crucial for setting the mood, especially as the sun goes down.
Absolutely. And with an outdoor space, you have the added element of natural light changing throughout the day. So how do we use artificial lighting to enhance the beauty of the garden rugs and create that magical evening ambiance?
Well, string lights are always a classic, adding that touch of whimsy and festivity. They look especially magical draped over trees or strung along a fence.
And lanterns. There are so many styles, from rustic to modern, so you can find one that fits your overall aesthetic. They create that warm, inviting glow.
And candles, especially citronella candles to keep those pesky mosquitoes away. They add a lovely flicker of light and a touch of fragrance to the air. Okay, now for the final element, accessories. Planters, sculptures, decorative objects, those little touches that really personalize a space. Any tips for incorporating those in a way that complements the garden collection?
Think about materials that echo the natural textures of the rugs. Terracotta pots, woven baskets, maybe a stone sculpture. It's all about creating a sense of harmony.
I love that. And we can play with scale and height to create visual interest. Tall planters in the background, smaller objects clustered on a side table.
It's all about creating that balanced and harmonious composition that draws the eye and makes you want to linger.
And don't forget those personal touches. Family photos, travel souvenirs, anything that tells your story and makes the space feel uniquely yours.
That's what turns a house into a home, and an outdoor space into a true sanctuary. It's those little details that make all the difference.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from choosing the right rug size and color to layering in textiles, lighting, and accessories. We've explored a whole range of strategies for using the garden collection to create stunning outdoor spaces.
And remember, these are just starting points. There are so many ways to get creative and make these rugs your own. The most important thing is to have fun. Experiment. Let your personal style shine through.
That's what makes design so exciting. It's not about following rules. It's about expressing yourself and creating a space that brings you joy. Now, before we get carried away with design schemes, let's take a closer look at the garden collection's color options. We know there are 3, but what are the nuances? What kind of moods or vibes do they evoke?
Let's start with the black.
Okay. Garden black. It sounds dramatic, right? But I remember you mentioned this earthy background color thing.
Right. It's not a stark, harsh black.
Yeah.
It's softened, more organic, almost like the black soil you'd find in a lush garden. Tappeti. It actually describes it as having that earthy background color, which prevents it from feeling too intense or overpowering.
So what kind of space do you see this working in? Would it be too heavy for, say, a small balcony?
It really depends on the overall aesthetic you're going for. I think it would be fantastic in a modern or minimalist setting. Imagine a patio with concrete pavers, clean lines, maybe some black metal furniture. The garden black rug would add a layer of warmth and texture without disrupting that sleek, modern vibe.
I can see that. It's about creating that balance between hard and soft, light and dark. It adds depth and sophistication.
And it could also be amazing in a space with lots of greenery. The black would provide a striking contrast, allowing the vibrant colors of the plants to really pop.
I love that idea. It's almost like the rug is receding into the background, letting nature take center stage. And don't forget, we're talking about an 8mm thick rug here. That black isn't going to show every little speck of dirt. It's practical.
Practicality A&D style. That's the sweet spot, right? Now, how about we shift gears to the garden green?
Green. When I think of outdoor rugs, green often comes to mind. It seems like the obvious choice, but this isn't your typical bright, grassy green, is it?
Not at all. Remember, the garden collection is all about subtlety, about blending with natural surroundings. So this is a more muted, earthy green.
Tappeti. It uses the phrase, the freshness of foliage. I love that. It captures that green, but in a more sophisticated, understated way.
Exactly. And again, that earthy background color comes into play. It creates depth and prevents the green from feeling flat or one-dimensional. It's those subtle details that make all the difference.
So where do you see this garden green shining? Give me some inspiration.
I think it would be beautiful in a space that transitions between indoors and outdoors. Maybe a sunroom or a covered patio that opens up to a garden area.
Okay.
It blurs the lines between the two, creating a sense of flow and continuity.
That's a beautiful idea. It's like bringing the outdoors in, but in a very subtle, elegant way.
It would also be lovely in a space with natural wood elements, like a deck or a patio with wooden furniture. The green would complement those warm tones beautifully.
Okay, I'm sold. Now for the final color.
The garden natural.
The classic. But again, we're not talking about just any beige, right? I feel like beige sometimes gets a bad rap for being boring.
Totally. But this is a carefully chosen natural tone that's both warm and sophisticated. Tappeti, it describes it as reminiscent of sand and natural fibers.
That sounds so serene and inviting. And I bet that earthy background color we keep talking about adds another layer of visual interest, right?
You know it. It keeps things from feeling too bland or washed out. It's all about those subtle nuances.
So where does this garden natural rug really shine? What kind of spaces would it elevate?
This one's incredibly versatile. It would work beautifully in just about any outdoor setting. But I think it would be especially lovely in a space with a bohemian or eclectic vibe.
Oh, I can see it now. A patio with lots of colorful textiles, woven furniture, potted plants. The garden natural rug would ground the space, providing a neutral backdrop for all that vibrancy.
Exactly. It's like the calm center of a beautiful, chaotic storm.
And it would also be perfect for a coastal setting. The natural tones would complement the sand and the sea so beautifully.
And let's not forget about practicality. If you're someone who likes to change up their decor seasonally, the Garden Natural is a great choice because it's so neutral. You can layer it with different textiles and accessories to create different looks throughout the year.
That's a great point. It's like a blank canvas that you can constantly reinvent.
Exactly. It's a timeless classic for a reason.
Okay, so we've covered the 3 color options in the garden collection. I'm already picturing these rugs in all sorts of stunning outdoor spaces. But there's so much more to discuss.
Absolutely. We've only just scratched the surface.
Let's go beyond the basics. We know these rugs are beautiful. We know they're sustainable. But how can we use them to truly elevate our outdoor spaces? How can we turn our patios, our terraces, our gardens into extensions of our homes, just as stylish and inviting as our indoor living spaces?
I love where you're going with this. We're talking about creating outdoor rooms that reflect our personal style and enhance our connection with nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's dig into some specific design strategies.
All right, buckle up. We're about to transform your outdoor living experience.
I think sometimes people get a little intimidated by the idea of a high-end rug going outside, getting dirty, the weather. So let's talk about that. How does the garden collection hold up in terms of durability? What makes these rugs tough enough to live outdoors?
Well, it all comes down to the materials. Remember, it's 60% recycled PET and 40% natural coconut fiber, both known for durability and resilience.
Okay, so let's break that down. PE, that's plastic, right? I don't usually think of plastic as luxurious or eco-friendly.
It's not your typical plastic. PET, or polyethylene terephthalate, it's a synthetic fiber that's incredibly strong, resistant to moisture, fading, staining. It's often used for outdoor furniture and fabrics because it can handle the elements.
And it's recycled, which is a huge plus for sustainability.
Exactly. And then you've got the coconut fiber coming from the outer husk of coconuts, also very strong and durable, naturally resistant to mold, mildew, and insects.
So it's like you've got a super tough synthetic and a natural fiber that's basically made for the outdoors, working as a team.
It is, and together they create a rug that's built to last, which is key for an outdoor space. You want to relax and enjoy yourself without worrying about the rug.
All right, no one wants to be babying their rug. So, durability check. But what about maintenance? They might be tough, but they'll still get dirty. It's the outdoors.
Of course, outdoor rugs are magnets for dirt, leaves, you name it.
So how do we keep them looking their best? What are the secrets?
Well, the good news is both PET and coconut fiber are pretty easy to clean. For regular maintenance, just shake out the rug or vacuum it with hose attachment.
Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. But what if you have, like, a spill? Say someone knocks over red wine at your outdoor dinner party disaster.
Don't panic. You can spot clean with mild detergent and water. Just rinse thoroughly and let it air dry completely.
So no harsh chemicals, no scrubbing. Good to know.
Right. And if you have more stubborn stains, you can try a mixture of vinegar and water. Vinegar is a natural cleaning agent, great for dirt and grime.
Plus, it's good for odors. So if a pet has an accident, vinegar to the rescue.
Exactly. Now, one tip, if you live where it rains a lot, it's a good idea to hang your garden rug to dry after it gets wet.
Makes sense. You don't want it sitting there soaking wet. Mold and mildew city.
Precisely. Hanging it helps prevent that, lets it dry more quickly and evenly.
Okay, so they're durable, easy to clean, designed for the elements. But there's one more practical thing to consider. Safety.
You're right. Safety is paramount, especially outdoors with things like water, uneven surfaces.
So what has nanimarquina done to make these rugs safe for outdoor use?
Well, first off, the flat weave construction means there are no loops or raised fibers to trip on. It's a smooth, even surface, safe for kids, adults.
Okay, good. No rug-induced stumbles.
Right. And the rugs are relatively thin, which also helps reduce tripping hazards, but they have a bit of weight to them, so they're not going to just blow away in the wind.
I've definitely had the experience of an outdoor rug turning into a kite. Not fun.
Can be a hazard. It's always smart to use a rug pad under any outdoor rug, especially on smooth surfaces like a deck or patio.
A rug pad? What's the reason for that?
It adds cushioning and helps prevent slipping, which can be a safety issue. And if you're near a pool or water feature, choose a rug pad made for wet areas.
Oh, there's special ones for that.
Yep. They have drainage holes to let water pass through so the rug doesn't get saturated and slippery.
That's really smart. I learn something new every time we do this.
And lastly, it's just important to check your rug now and then for wear and tear. Frayed edges, loose fibers, holes.
Good reminder. We should all be doing that, inside and out.
Absolutely. Catch any damage early, get it repaired, and your rug will last longer.
Okay, so durability, maintenance, safety. Sounds like the garden collection ticks all the boxes for being practical.
It does. It's a well-designed collection, beautiful, A&D, functional, not just about looks, but about creating a space you can really live in and enjoy.
You know, I think sometimes we get so caught up in whether a rug is practical or stain-resistant that we forget to just appreciate the artistry and craftsmanship that goes into these objects.
It's true. We focus on function and we lose sight of the beauty, the skill involved.
And these garden rugs are hand-woven, using traditional techniques. Each one is unique, like a piece of art.
The subtle variations in texture, the way light and shadow play on the surface, the natural beauty of the materials, it's all reflecting the human hand, the human spirit that went into making it.
Yeah, it's that connection to the maker, the history, that takes it beyond just an object, you know.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes them so special. They're not just rugs, they're stories. Stories of tradition, sustainability, connection to nature.
Beautiful. And they invite us to create our own stories, to weave our lives into our outdoor spaces.
So as you step onto a garden rug, take a moment, appreciate the artistry, the craftsmanship, the human connection that went into making it, and let it inspire you to create an outdoor space that's truly your own.
I love that. All right, well, I think that's a wonderful note to end on. We've explored this gardening collection in depth. Sustainable materials, the thoughtful design, the versatility, the practicality. We talked about how to use these rugs to create amazing outdoor spaces that really reflect your personal style.
And we highlighted nanimarquina's commitment to doing things ethically and sustainably, which is fantastic to see.
Absolutely. So to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you're feeling inspired to go create your own little slice of outdoor heaven.
Happy designing.